I'm Tisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, February the 13th, 2014. Israeli media is reporting an incident today at the security fence between Israel and northern Gaza. IDF soldiers reportedly fired on a group of Palestinians who entered the security zone and attempted to damage the border fence. Soldiers were sent to the area to try and disperse the group. When those efforts failed, soldiers reportedly fired at them, possibly hitting one or two of them. Palestinian media reports that one of the individuals, a man, was killed in the incident, with conflicting reports naming him as 26-year-old Soleiman Mansour or 30-year-old Ibrahim Mansour. They also reported that another man was moderately injured in the incident. Ynet reports that United Nations Mideast Peace Coordinator Robert Sherry said that the ceasefire agreement put into place in November of 2012 between Israel and Hamas is eroding. Sherry made the comments in a press statement yesterday where he said, "I am worried we are seeing more and more signs that the understanding on a ceasefire reached in November 2012 is eroding in both of its main requirements: the end of all hostilities and the opening of the crossings for people and goods." Sherry noted the increase in rocket fire targeting Israel over the last few months and Israel's retaliation for these attacks. He said the UN condemns the rise in violence and called on all parties to act in accordance with international law. Sherry added that only the reunification of Gaza and the West Bank under the Palestinian Authority will ultimately lead to peace. Sherry criticized Israel's closures of border crossings to the Palestinians. However, he did note Israel's recent decision to allow for 1,000 tons of cement and other building materials to enter Gaza in order to help with flood relief in the area. Israel had eased restrictions in 2010 for building materials into Gaza, but late last year, after a concrete-lined tunnel was found along the border, built in order to try and attack and/or abduct Israelis, that easement was halted. European Parliament President Martin Schulz said today that he was surprised at the strong reaction from some to his Knesset speech yesterday, a speech which he said was supportive of Israel. Schulz told German newspaper Die Welt, "Today I was surprised and concerned by the harsh reaction because I have given a speech that was pro-Israel." He said the people who disrupted my speech belong to a party of hardliners who answer every critical word that bothers them in this way, adding that U.S. Secretary of State Kerry was attacked by them in the same way. Schulz added that he was at the Knesset to express the position of the European Parliament and said, "Obviously, I cannot just say the things that please everyone. I have to refer to contentious issues." As we reported to you yesterday, it was Schulz's comments regarding the economic conditions of the Palestinians that caused Beit HaYehudi members, led by Israeli Trade Minister and party head Naftali Bennett, to walk out of the Knesset in protest yesterday, when Schulz claimed that Palestinians receive only 17 liters of water for every 70 received by Israelis. According to the Water Authority in Israel, those figures were wrong and the gap was much narrower. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Schulz admitted that he did not check his facts. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Ron Prosor, is asking the UN to do more about the situation in Syria. Prosor told the UN Security Council yesterday that they were not doing enough to help civilians in the conflict. He was taking part in an open debate on the issue. Prosor cited the Talmud in his speech that, quote, "If a person saves one life, it is as though he has saved the whole world." He said in Syria, almost 130,000 worlds have been destroyed. "We cannot sit comfortably in this chamber discussing the protection of civilians in armed conflict when before our eyes the crisis in Syria has reached catastrophic proportions." Israel's business paper Globes reports that Israel Aerospace Industries has opened a research and development center in Singapore. The Cyber Early Warning R&D Center was unveiled today. It is modeled on the IAI's Cyber Center in Israel. The Singapore Center will develop prototypes for cyber early warning solutions, among other complex cyber technologies. The BDS, or Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement, is doing its best to get legendary rockers the Rolling Stones to cancel their reported concert in Israel this summer. The Jerusalem Post had reported earlier this week that the British band was eyeing a June 10th date for a performance at Israel's Ramat Gan Stadium near Tel Aviv, and that the concert was nearly official. Yesterday, the BDS movement put up a Facebook page urging the band to cancel due to Israel's, quote, crimes against humanity. This is just the latest effort of the BDS movement, whose aim it is to delegitimize the state of Israel. A court in Paris has ruled for the removal of parts of a YouTube video considered anti-Semitic. The Paris Court of Grand Instance ordered controversial French comedian Dieudonné Mabala to remove portions of a video of himself which showed the comedian performing the Canel gesture, a gesture that is referred to as a reverse Nazi salute. The judge in the case ruled that the performance of the gesture in the video violated French laws against Holocaust denial and incitement to racial hatred. The Union of Jewish Students of France had asked the court to intervene on the matter last month. Dieudonné has been convicted 7 times in the past for inciting racial hatred against Jews. French news agency AFP reports that he has now been given 5 days to remove the offensive parts of the video or face a daily fine of close to $700. Jewish groups Next, which is a division of the Birthright Israel Foundation, and Natan, which aims to get young philanthropists to engage in Jewish giving through funding innovative projects, is accepting applications for their social entrepreneurs grants for this year. Next and Natan are looking for young Jewish adults with a vision for cultural, spiritual, educational, and community building projects for their peers that will ultimately lead to more Jewish engagement. The $10,000 grants have been awarded since 2010. CEO of Next, Morley Levin, said the grants help the Birthright Israel generation connect with each other and contribute to Jewish life. Levin said today's young adults want to take risks and try new and different ways to connect with their Jewish identity. Often they want to do this within a community of their friends. For all of the social entrepreneurs out there, Levin said, this is an opportunity to do even more. And some sad news today. Veteran Jewish comedian Sid Caesar has passed away at the age of 91. Caesar, who pioneered television comedy in the 1950s, died in his home in the Los Angeles area yesterday after being ill. Caesar was born to Jewish immigrants in Yonkers, New York. His first foray into the entertainment world was playing saxophone in a band and doing comedy in the Catskills. Best known for his work with comedian Imogene Coca on Your Show of Shows, which aired from 1950 to 1954, Caesar's career spanned 6 decades, including work on television, film, and on the Broadway stage. After hearing of his death, fellow comedian Carl Reiner called Caesar a giant and perhaps the best sketch artist and comedian that ever lived. Caesar is survived by his 3 children.
There they are, as a present.
And turning to our Shalom TV programming for tonight, Thursday, February the 13th, some special programming just ahead of Valentine's Day tomorrow. Tonight at 7, you can watch The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth Westheimer, followed at 7:20 by Rabbi Mordechai Becker, who discusses the Talmudic approach to marriage. Then at 8 o'clock, the laws of marriage and divorce in Israel are addressed at the Jewish Federations of North America's General Assembly in Jerusalem. At 9 o'clock, philosophy professor Aaron Ben-Zeev talks about the philosophy of love with Mark Golub on L'chaim. At 10 o'clock, Stepping Stones addresses the subject of intermarriage. That's all coming up tonight here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, February the 13th, 2014. I'm Tisha Bader.